So I'm here today with one of a series of videos in which I'll be giving you lots of tips on what you need to do to get a job as soon as possible. My topic of today, out of my mind, is about headhunters and recruiters. So how do you gain traction with headhunters and recruiters? I have a lot of clients and friends and acquaintances that keep telling me, but what the heck, why I don't get a response. I reach out to them, I send my CV, they look at my profile on LinkedIn, but I still don't get any response. Or sometimes I get people telling me, well, I do get responses, but then they tell me they're going to come back to me and they really loved my, profile. They ask for my CV and then they vanish. So lots of people face the same situation over and over. So here are some of the possible reasons why this is happening to you. The very first thing, let's consider the very worst case scenario where you're not gaining at all any traction. You're sending thousands of messages, connecting with lots of headhunters on LinkedIn, and suddenly no traction whatsoever. Very first thing you need to do, hang on, is this person really a recruiter at the moment? Maybe they're not even working at the moment. They just didn't update their LinkedIn profile. How can you know? So remove some kind of, irritation right there. We don't know what we don't know. Now, next, is this recruiter within the sector or industries or core functions that you can help them fulfill any of their current openings? So how can you know about that? Well, take a look at their profile. Take a look at their company. What sectors and functions do they serve? Levels of seniority, right? Maybe they only do executive search. Maybe they only cover C+, literally. And then suddenly you are still a director, mid-level or below that. So they're not able to entertain and talk to you, even though they serve your industry. So this is a very good exercise before reaching out to any headhunter, any recruiter, understanding, do I matter to them? Because first you need to think, do I matter to them? Do I help them fulfilling any of their current openings? If it's maybe, but I have no idea, or it's a no, absolutely no, they are into oil and gas and I am into healthcare, then they will not interact with you at all. Not because they're mean, guys. It's literally about, this is business. Business is business. So candidates are purely products that will serve to help the headhunters and recruiters do deals, do business, get their money out of this business. Now, if you're not the right product, so really sorry, they don't have time to respond. And even if they do, they might get lost in the middle of the way because maybe the client didn't come back to them, maybe the position is closed and they're working simultaneously 14, 13, how many openings? So they don't have time to be polite and come back and justify. So what is the course of action? So are those recruiters, headhunters relevant? If they are, great, reach out. Now, if they don't respond to you, you still is scoring. Every time you see that they checked your profile out, great, you got their attention. That's it, you got their attention. What happens from there is just a consequence of, do they have an opening? Do they have an opening at the moment that they can get help from you with your profile to fulfill? And then the rest is history. So what's the best way to actually reach out then, in this case, to headhunters? So let's put a few steps. First of all, of course, your LinkedIn profile must be up and shining. If the LinkedIn is not representing a good profile, is not representing, any of the highlights of the core function that you're trying to apply for in the next job, and it's looking weak, then that's the judgment they're going to make out of you based on what they see there. Have a good photo, represents your level of seniority, have a good background photo, have a little bit of decoration in your LinkedIn. If you have the chance to make a voice record, LinkedIn has this function today, do it. Anything that makes you feel like, wow, this is a real person. This sounds like a solid person. And then literally start sending requests to connect. What do you have to lose? So do not overdo that. There are lots of debates in this case. Sending requests to connect, you don't need to start attaching anything. I would like to connect with you on LinkedIn, thanks. kind regards, and the name, or simply send the button, press the button, I'd like to connect. Let LinkedIn send the automated message. From the moment that they get your request to connect, guess what? You got the visibility. You would not even need to do anything. But if you still want to do something about it, thank them for connecting with you on LinkedIn and let them know in a very crystal clear, very to the point message, thank you for connecting with me on LinkedIn, Bob. The reason of my approach, I noticed that you are a headhunter within the oil and gas industry, and I have 20 years experience within the industry in the same markets that you cover. By the way, the positions I could help you fulfill are those, give 3 job titles that help, that you would be fulfilling. If there is an interest to have a conversation to see how we can help each other out with the current openings you have, or helping you prospect for new clients, please feel free to reach out. By the way, here's my number if you'd like to give me a quick call. Kind regards. That's it. Crystal clear. Recruiters and headhunters, they will always think anybody who connects with them is a job seeker, even if you're not. So may as well go to the point. You don't need to say, please look at my profile. You lose value when you do that. If they want, they will look at your profile. You don't need to attach a CV. That's catastrophic. You're never going to attach a CV unless they tell you, could you please send me your CV? Now, very important, listen to what they say, follow the instructions. So they might say, thank you for reaching out, Kelly. At this stage, we don't have any current openings, but let's stay in touch. That's it. Don't push. Don't say, hey, I want to send you my CV, or here's my CV. Thank you, Joanne. I really appreciate for taking the time to respond to me. I would love to have a chat with you and, eventually hear back from you. Have a wonderful week ahead. That's it. Now, how do you follow up? Because that person is going to forget you, right? That's what you're thinking. And yes, they will, but not if you do a proper follow-up. Now, the follow-up is never the word I'm following up. There's nothing more disturbing for a headhunter to hear, hey, I'm following up. It's really pressured and it's inconvenient. So, but you still have to follow up. So how do you follow up? Well, there are millions of ways that you don't need to say this disturbing word. So what you can do, visit their profiles once a week if you like. Visiting profile, it's visiting profile. If they have anything they have posted, any articles, maybe they shared something about, anything that happened in their company, or they shared a quote, put a like, simple like this, put a like on their, he react to their newsfeed. And if you want to comment, don't be too, don't overdo it, but you can say, hey, Kelly, nice sharing. Thanks for sharing. Nice quote. And I actually agree with your quote. So anything that keeps them with you on their mind, right? But meanwhile, it's very important to remember volume plays a big difference. So one thing is, in the last 3 months, I did this activity with maybe 5 or 10 headhunters, or even 20 or 30 headhunters. Well, then, it's a little bit like prospecting for business. The conversion, you have to calculate. It is a small percentage. So how do you start getting some results out of it? Then scale, right? So make a list. Maybe you're going to do follow-ups with 10 to 15 per day by putting a like, by visiting. Maybe it's been a month. You want to say, hey, just want to say hello. If there is anything available that I can help you out, just reach out. So anything that it doesn't come across pushy, but reminds them, and keep sending requests to new people to connect, right? The more people you have connected to you on LinkedIn, even if today, even if tomorrow, you're not getting any kind of direct traction, guess what? Any activity that you do on LinkedIn, anything that you comment, post, react, it gets your name out there. You potentially are going to appear in the newsfeed. So if you appear in the newsfeed, they're starting remembering your name. You visit their profile from time to time, fantastic. They will say, oh, hang on, that person that we spoke a month ago, but of course, not every day, not all the time. So they don't say, hang on, is this person stalking me, right? So it is really using common sense and stay on the top of the game. So I would say for today, I have a few notes only on this point. If there are questions about it or anything you face in particularly, please drop a comment. drop your question and I'll make sure to address it. I hope that was helpful to you, and I wish you all the very best.